A new investigation from the New York Times revealed some alarming details about the Pentagon, its use of airstrikes, and a lack of accountability involving civilian casualties abroad. In this investigation, the Times found inconsistent approaches to assessing claims of civilians killed by U.S.-led coalition forces. In other words, when there were claims of civilians killed in airstrikes, many were dismissed as non-credible before a proper investigation had taken place. In addition, the report found patterns of failed intelligence, decision-making, and execution of U.S.-led airstrikes. You remember in Afghanistan, as America ended its longest war in August, a drone strike killed 10 civilians, including 7 children, in Kabul. The Air Force Inspector General called the botched strike a, quote, honest mistake, end quote. So how much does this hurt the American cause abroad? Let's ask our friend, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and Green Beret Scott Mann. Colonel, it's always good to see you as well. So the Times looked at more than 1,300 confidential Pentagon assessments. I'm wondering what yours is after hearing this.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on, and Happy New Year. You know, combat is a really, really murky, ugly thing, and anytime you employ airstrikes or precision fires, they're not always so precision, right? You know, that's just the fog of war in some cases. And I'm not excusing this, but I am saying that in many cases, these things are going to happen. However, we have an inherent requirement to go back, and if there are reports of collateral damage, and if there are reports of civilian casualties, we have to investigate it with everything that we have to figure out not only did it happen and is there culpability, but we also have to restore whatever trust has been broken when that happens. And this is what concerns me more than anything else, is we're starting to get this over-reliance on the over-the-horizon strike capability that is not that accurate and, frankly, can create more terrorists than it solves the problem for.
Well, it sounds to me like this is part of the problem on both ends of this, before the strike and then trying to assess it after. We just don't have the intel on the ground to do it accurately.
Well, I mean, we learned this lesson after 9/11/2001, when Osama bin Laden built one of the worst strikes in American history in Afghanistan. And one of the primary findings from the 9/11 Commission was we didn't have the on-the-ground intelligence that we need. Now, we've abandoned a partner force and an intelligence apparatus that took 20 years to build on the heels of that. And we just had another failed bot strike that killed innocent Afghans. I mean, as a military, as a nation, and I hope our citizenry watching this, we've got to understand that just because we want to pull back from these places, this is where insurgents and global terrorists hide. And if we don't get a local presence there, this over-the-horizon stuff is actually going to end up creating problems that follow us home, and we're going to have another catastrophic strike on our shore.
Well, it sounds to me, Colonel, like a lot of these assessments, they were unclear even of whether it had been a U.S. strike to begin with, or there was just a simple location confusion about the assessment, and then it was deemed non-credible, and it was hundreds of them.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really speak to the tactics, techniques, and procedures of the cell that investigates this. I mean, obviously, it does need to be very, very thorough. But what I am worried about is the perception that people around the world have on the United States and the United States military right now, because clearly we abandoned our partner force in Afghanistan. We did an over-the-horizon strike that was not a righteous strike. It killed innocent people. And let me ask you, Joe, how many foreign armies right now do you think, you know, to include possibly in Ukraine, that are really going to work shoulder to shoulder with us as we go in there and say, hi, I'm from the U.S. government. How do you like me so far? You know, I just don't think that our social capital right now is where it needs to be. And that's a national security problem.
Right. I don't know if you know the answer to this, Colonel, but as I was reading this today, I wondered, assessors found these hundreds of cases to be non-credible. What if they are credible? What does the U.S. do then? Are there reparations?
There has to be. I mean, one of the things that we've learned in the post-9/11 environment is that every time you create some kind of strike or harm in these areas, many of these areas are tribal, Joe, and there are elements of revenge in play that will last for decades, if not centuries, and they will strike and leverage that to fuel their narrative, to recruit other terrorists. And let's not forget, ISIS-K struck us with a bomber that had been freed only 4 days prior. Imagine what they can do if they reconstitute and have, what, 4 months now to get ready to project something, and then you start fueling it with these kinds of rumors or actual validated collateral damage, it could be catastrophic for the homeland if we don't pay attention to it.
I'm glad you brought that up, Colonel, because I was going to ask you about that. It's always good to see you, retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and Green Beret Scott Mann. Take care. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.